I wish I could marry her, I whispered. The alien princess turned and said, then my answer is yes. Humans had only recently begun visiting this distant world, and even then, only diplomats and scientists were allowed close to the royal court. The alien civilization was advanced, both technologically and culturally, and humans were still learning how to navigate its complex rules. Ethan Corwin adjusted his uniform nervously. He was young for a human diplomat, but his intelligence and curiosity had earned him the rare assignment. Today was his first official inspection of the royal palace. His heart pounded with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. Humans were not common in the halls of Lyrathis, and the palace guard's eyes seemed to follow him wherever he moved. The palace itself was a wonder beyond imagination. Towers of crystal spiraled into the sky, reflecting the lavender sun in dazzling patterns. Gardens floated in midair, with pathways winding around waterfalls that defied gravity. Strange alien birds, translucent and glowing, fluttered around flowers that smelled of warmth and sweetness combined. Ethan could hardly take it all in. He moved carefully, trying to memorize customs that had taken weeks to study. On Lyrathis, even a slight gesture could be considered an insult. He bowed when he entered a chamber, touched his chest lightly, and kept his tone calm. Despite these precautions, he felt out of place. Then he saw her. Princess Sarilith appeared at the far end of a floating bridge, her presence commanding attention without a single word. Her skin shimmered faintly, a soft pearl tone that reflected the sunlight. Her eyes were deep pools of violet, intelligent and curious, studying Ethan with an intensity that made him falter. She wore a flowing gown that seemed to float like liquid around her, adorned with delicate crystals that caught every beam of light. Ethan's pulse quickened. He had expected to meet the princess as part of a formal delegation, surrounded by advisors and guards, but here she was, unaccompanied, moving with quiet confidence among the floating gardens. It felt almost as if the palace itself had prepared this moment just for him. "Welcome to Lyrathis, human," she said in a voice that was soft but carried authority. She approached him, each step precise and elegant. "I have observed your people for some time. You are interesting." Ethan swallowed, nervously unsure how to respond. "Princess, I mean your highness. It's an honor to be here. Your planet, it's beautiful." Sarilith smiled faintly. "Beauty is expected of Lyrathis, but I am more interested in what humans bring, your ideas, your perspective, your courage. Many of your kind are timid in the presence of alien authority. You are different." Ethan felt a warmth of pride and anxiety. To be noticed in this way by the princess herself was beyond any training he had received. I hope to learn, your highness. And perhaps to help if I can." The princess tilted her head slightly, studying him with sharp violet eyes. Then, to his surprise, she extended a hand. "Walk with me," she said. Ethan hesitated only for a moment before following. As they moved along the bridge, they passed streams of floating lights that danced in the air like fireflies. Ethan's mind raced, wondering if any other human had ever walked alone with the princess before. Likely not. "You are brave," Sarilith said after a moment. "Most humans would never dare to explore the floating gardens without being instructed. You do not fear." I fear," Ethan admitted honestly, "but I think fear is for learning, not for standing still." She regarded him with something that looked like approval. "A wise answer. Many in my court are impressed with those who only speak of logic and facts. Courage is rarer, curiosity even rarer still." They reached a small balcony overlooking the palace courtyard, where alien students practiced floating martial arts, their bodies suspended midair as if the laws of gravity were suggestions rather than rules. Ethan watched in awe. "It's incredible," he said. "The way your people have mastered even the air itself." Sarilith's eyes sparkled. "We are taught that mastery begins with the mind, not the body, but humans, you surprise me. Many of your kind rely too much on instinct, but you think before acting. That is admirable." For a long moment they stood in silence, watching the students glide and twist in precise patterns. Ethan felt a connection forming, subtle but undeniable. He could not explain why, but in her presence the world seemed sharper, more alive. Then, without warning, he spoke. I wish I could marry you," he whispered almost to himself. The words hung in the air, fragile and bold at once. Ethan immediately wished he could take them back, realizing how impossible it sounded. Humans were outsiders here. Interspecies unions were rare and often forbidden. The thought of saying it aloud made him flush with embarrassment, but Princess Saralith did not recoil or laugh. She turned fully to face him, her gaze steady and unflinching. "Then my answer is yes," she said simply. Ethan's mouth went dry. He stared at her, certain he had misunderstood. You mean it?" he asked, his voice trembling. "I do," she replied. "Do you not wish it too?" He nodded, barely able to speak. I do." For the first time, Ethan felt a surge of hope, a feeling that seemed impossible just moments before. The impossible had become real, yet the weight of reality settled immediately on his shoulders. The court, the nobles, the entire political system, they would never approve so easily. The word of a human and an alien princess could cause scandal, even war. Saralith seemed to read his thoughts. "We will face challenges," she said quietly. "Many will not understand. But courage is what changes the world. Are you willing to be brave, human?" Ethan swallowed hard, then nodded again. I will. I have to." They walked together through the gardens as the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long, shimmering shadows. The palace's floating lamps lit up one by one, glowing softly in colors Ethan had no names for. They passed creatures that hovered midair, plants that shifted shapes as they watched, and fountains that bent water into shapes that defied reason. Through it all, Ethan felt an exhilarating sense of belonging, not just to the palace or to Saralith, but to the very possibility of humanity making its mark in a galaxy that often underestimated it. As night fell, they reached a small pavilion above a crystalline lake. Saralith gestured for Ethan to sit beside her. "Tell me about your world," she said. "Your home, your people, what drives you to explore the stars." Ethan hesitated, then began speaking. He told her about Earth's oceans, its mountains, and its forests. He described human cities filled with noise and light, the inventions humans had created, and the mistakes they had made. He spoke of humanity's resilience, its willingness to survive, to adapt, and to dream beyond what seemed possible. Saralith listened, rapt. "Your people, you think differently from my kind. You are passionate, inventive, and relentless. Perhaps that is why I find you compelling." Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. To be seen in this way by a princess of Lyrathis was more than he could have imagined. I only hope to learn from you as well," he said. "You already are," she said, smiling. "And perhaps together we can learn even more. Imagine what humans and Lyrathians could achieve if we truly worked together." For the first time in his life, Ethan felt that possibility was real. The galaxy was wide, full of dangers and wonders, and humans were only beginning to understand their place within it. And now, with Saralith by his side, he felt that humanity might not just survive in the galaxy, it might thrive. As the night deepened, Ethan realized that the moment he had whispered his impossible wish, everything had changed. What had once seemed forbidden now felt inevitable. There would be challenges, yes, and enemies, yes, but also hope. And for the first time, he believed that humans, fragile, bold, and endlessly creative, could stand among the stars as equals. Princess Saralith looked out over the lake, her expression thoughtful. "Tomorrow we begin the work of making the impossible possible," she said. Ethan nodded. He did not yet know what challenges awaited, what dangers or misunderstandings might come, but he knew one thing. For the first time in his life, he felt truly alive. The stars reflected in the crystalline lake, mirrored in Saralith's eyes, and for a fleeting, perfect moment, everything seemed within reach. And Ethan whispered again, softly, almost to himself, "Then I will do whatever it takes for her, for us, for humanity." The night on Lyrathis was quiet, but for Ethan it was a beginning. A beginning of love, courage, and a future that neither humans nor Lyrathians could have imagined. The palace of Lyrathis had never seen a morning like this. Sunlight spilled across the crystal towers, scattering rainbows into the lavender sky, yet the court inside was alive with tension. Word had spread quickly. Princess Saralith, the jewel of the Lyrathian Empire, had given her answer to a human's whispered wish. Ethan Corwin entered the grand hall cautiously. His uniform pressed, his heart still racing from last night's conversation. He tried to appear calm. But the moment he stepped into the hall, the eyes of nobles, advisors, and guards turned toward him. Whispers rippled through the crowd, carried by invisible currents of curiosity and shock. "Is it true?" a courtier murmured to another. "The princess with a human?" "Impossible," replied the second. "Humans are outsiders. This is scandalous." Ethan swallowed hard, unsure if he had imagined the conversation with Saralith or if the palace was really abuzz with gossip. He had expected secrecy. Yet somehow the princess's boldness had reached even the most distant corners of the royal court. And then she appeared. Princess Sarilith walked down the steps into the hall with grace that silenced the whispers. Her violet eyes scanned the crowd, sharp and unyielding, yet her gaze landed on Ethan. The human's heart pounded. He had never seen her more commanding or radiant. "Today," she began, her voice calm yet carrying through the hall like a gentle wind that could not be ignored. "I will speak plainly. I have met a human, Ethan Corwin. He is courageous, intelligent, and kind. He has earned my respect and my heart. And when he whispered a wish, I have given my answer. Yes." The hall erupted into chaos. Gasps, shouts, and shocked murmurs filled the space. Some nobles covered their mouths in disbelief, others whispered excitedly to each other. Many of the elder advisors stiffened in silent fury. Ethan felt sweat prickling at his forehead. He had never been the center of attention like this, especially not in front of a court so vast and critical. I did not mean for this to." "Quiet, human," Sarilith interrupted, her tone firm but not unkind. "I will speak for both of us. If anyone dares to interrupt, you will face consequences. I will not allow fear or tradition to dictate my heart." Ethan's jaw dropped. Not because of the boldness, but because she trusted him enough to share this moment publicly. Humans were fragile, she seemed to say, but capable of more than the galaxy believed. Some nobles turned pale. Others clenched their hands, murmuring to their peers. "This is unprecedented," one said. "A Lyrathian princess choosing a human?" "Yes," Sarilith replied, meeting their gaze steadily. "Unprecedented, yes, but humans are more capable than many of you imagine. They are courageous. They think, adapt, and persevere. My choice honors that truth." Ethan wanted to speak, to explain himself, to say he never expected this, but the words stuck in his throat. He realized he didn't need to speak. The princess had said it all. After a long, tense silence, one of the elder advisors, Viral, stepped forward. His tall frame and silver robes marked him as a figure of authority. "Princess," he began, his voice firm, "this union is dangerous. Humans are outsiders. You risk the Empire's stability by entertaining such a thought. Our traditions, our alliances, our very future may be jeopardized." Sarilith tilted her head, unflinching. "And yet," she said calmly, "I have considered the future. And I have concluded that what humans offer, courage, ingenuity, perspective, strengthens the Empire. I will not ignore that potential for the sake of comfort or fear." Viral's eyes narrowed. "Comfort is safety, fear is wisdom. We cannot allow personal sentiment to dictate state affairs." Sarilith's voice grew stronger. "And yet wisdom without courage is hollow. Comfort without action is useless. Humans act, they create, they persevere where others falter. Do you doubt their worth because they are different, or because you have never understood them?" The hall fell silent. The words carried weight, striking deep into hearts that had only known the safety of tradition. Ethan watched, awe growing in his chest. Humans had always been underestimated, dismissed as fragile or reckless. Yet here, Sarilith spoke truth. Humans had strengths that no alien civilization had fully appreciated. Viral straightened his robes, muttering under his breath, but he did not interrupt further. Other advisors whispered among themselves, some skeptical, some intrigued. The ripple of change had begun. After the meeting, Sarilith invited Ethan to walk with her through the palace corridors. The walls gleamed with shifting colors, and soft lights floated beside them, illuminating intricate carvings that told the history of Lyrathis. Ethan felt small among such splendor, yet somehow, with Sarilith by his side, he felt larger than ever. "You handled that well," she said quietly. "For a human, you have composure." Ethan shook his head, embarrassed. "I hardly did. You carried everything for both of us. The court, the advisors, I'm not used to being at the center like that." Sarilith glanced at him, violet eyes gentle. "Humans are underestimated, but they are also capable of more than they realize. You may not see your strength yet, but others do. I see it clearly." Her words filled him with a sense of pride and purpose. For the first time, he felt that humans, fragile, bold, imaginative humans, could not only survive in alien societies but thrive and lead. As they walked, they passed a balcony overlooking the palace training grounds. Alien cadets practiced with levitating weapons, forming complex patterns in the air. Some moved like dancers, others like warriors. Ethan watched, fascinated. "You will train with them?" he asked cautiously. Sarilith smiled. "Eventually, but first you will observe. Learn their ways. Then perhaps we will see what humans and Lyrathians can achieve together. Ethan nodded, determination growing. He wanted to prove himself, not just for her, but for humanity. He wanted to show the galaxy that humans were more than outsiders, more than fragile creatures struggling in the vast universe. Humans were capable of courage, ingenuity, and heart. The next days were filled with cautious introductions. Sarilith made sure Ethan met influential nobles, scientists, and diplomats. Some looked at him with suspicion, others with curiosity, and a few with admiration. Slowly, whispers of respect began to grow. Humans, it seemed, could earn their place, not by force, but by intelligence, courage, and character. One evening, Sarilith invited Ethan to the floating gardens. The sky above shimmered with twin moons, and the air was fragrant with alien flowers. They walked in silence at first, watching bioluminescent insects dance above the petals. "Do you think they will ever accept us?" Ethan asked finally, his voice low. Sarilith considered. "Perhaps not all at once, but actions speak louder than words. Humans have strengths many Lyrathians fail to understand. Courage, creativity, determination, these are qualities that can change minds, even in the most rigid hearts." Ethan smiled faintly. "Then we have work to do." She laughed softly, a sound like wind chimes. "Indeed. But I have confidence in you, Ethan Corwin. You are more capable than you know." Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden alert from the palace sensors. An approaching vessel had entered Lyrathian space, unidentified, moving fast. The palace guards rushed to prepare for potential threat. Ethan's pulse quickened. For the first time, he felt the real stakes of this union. It wasn't just about hearts. It was about survival, diplomacy, and proving humanity's worth. Sarilith placed a hand on his arm. "Stay calm," she said. "Whatever comes, we face it together. Courage, intelligence, and loyalty, these are our weapons. Do not doubt them." Ethan nodded. He felt a fire ignite within him. Humans had survived impossible odds on Earth. Perhaps now, among the stars, they could do even more. The mysterious ship entered orbit, and the palace's sensors identified it as a delegation from a rival faction. They were known for questioning human capabilities and Lyrathian decisions. Their presence could mean negotiations or conflict. Ethan glanced at Sarilith. "Are we ready?" She smiled, confident. "We are." Let them see that humans and Lyrathians together are stronger than they expected. As they moved toward the observation deck, the stars beyond shimmered with infinite possibilities. For Ethan, the path ahead was uncertain and dangerous, but also exhilarating. With Sarilith by his side, humans could show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. And for the first time, Ethan realized that love and courage could not be separated. To protect Sarilith, to prove humanity's worth, he would need both. The palace doors closed behind them, and the first challenge of many approached, a test of diplomacy, bravery, and the strength of two worlds united. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again. The sun rose over Lyrathis in brilliant shades of lavender and gold, casting long shadows across the floating gardens. For Ethan Corwin, the morning felt heavier than ever. The court's whispers had grown louder, fueled by doubts, envy, and fear. Not all Lyrathians were ready to accept a human walking beside Princess Sarilith, yet he knew that hesitation was dangerous. Actions mattered far more than words. A message arrived from the outer council of the rival faction, the Zevorians, known across the galaxy for their strict adherence to tradition and suspicion of humans. They demanded an audience at the palace, claiming urgent matters of diplomacy, but Ethan and Sarilith both understood the risk. The Zevorians opposed the human-princess union and would see any opportunity to challenge it as a chance to destabilize Lyrathis. Sarilith turned to Ethan as they read the message together. "This is a test," she said calmly. "They want to see humans fail, but I trust you, Ethan. We will show them that courage and intelligence matter more than fear and tradition." Ethan nodded, feeling a mix of anxiety and determination. Humans had always faced dangers and impossible odds. They had survived by thinking, adapting, and persevering. And now, in a distant palace under alien skies, he realized that those same qualities would define the future of human-alien relations. They arrived at the ceremonial hall, where Zevorian delegates waited. Their leaders wore sharp, angular robes, symbols of rank etched into their metallic collars. Their eyes flicked over Ethan with thinly veiled disdain. "Princess Sarilith," One of the Zevorian envoys began, voice cold and precise. "We are aware of your human companion. We hope your judgment is not clouded by sentiment. Lyrathis faces great challenges, and outsiders may not always act in your best interest." Ethan felt the weight of their gaze. They expected him to falter, to stumble in etiquette or knowledge. Humans were untested, unprepared. But he refused to let fear dominate him. "Honored delegates," Ethan said steadily, bowing slightly as he had been taught. "I am Ethan Corwin, human diplomat. I do not come with arrogance, only with understanding, respect, and a willingness to learn. My presence here is not to replace your knowledge, but to complement it, to find solutions that benefit all." The Zevorians exchanged surprised glances. Few humans had ever spoken with such poise in front of alien leaders. One of the younger delegates muttered under his breath, He is confident." Seralith's voice cut through the murmurs. "Humans possess qualities you may not yet recognize: courage, creativity, dedication. Judge them not by fear or prejudice, but by their actions." The room fell silent. Tension hung thick, like clouds before a storm. Then, unexpectedly, the Zevorians presented their challenge: a complex problem of energy distribution across the outer colonies, a situation that had stumped their own engineers for months. "You have 1 day," the envoy said, "to provide a viable solution. If humans fail, Lyrath's leadership in the region will be questioned." Ethan studied the holographic display. The problem was intricate. Multiple energy nodes needed realignment, output stabilization, and synchronization with weather patterns across distant planets. It was complicated enough to challenge seasoned Lyrathian engineers, but humans thrived in challenges. He remembered the lessons of Earth. When resources were scarce, when odds were impossible, humans found a way. "Princess Seralith," he said quietly, "I believe we can solve this if you allow me to work with your engineers." Seralith nodded. "You may. Show them what humans can do." For the next several hours, Ethan worked with a team of Lyrathian engineers. He studied their calculations, compared them with human methods, and suggested adjustments. Slowly, patterns emerged that the aliens had not noticed. He combined human intuition with Lyrathian precision, proposing a network adjustment that would stabilize energy flow across all nodes. The Zevorians watched skeptically as Ethan explained his solution. His voice was calm, clear, and deliberate, each point backed by reasoning and evidence. Slowly, disbelief turned to curiosity, and curiosity to admiration. Finally, Seralith spoke. "You see, humans are not just capable, they are valuable. Courage, thought, and collaboration are not limited by species." The Zevorians murmured among themselves, their expressions shifting. Though some still hesitated, they could not deny the solution's brilliance. Energy distribution across the outer colonies stabilized within minutes, exceeding even Lyrathian expectations. Ethan felt a surge of pride, not because he wanted recognition, but because humans had proven their worth. They were more than outsiders, they were capable partners in a galaxy that had often dismissed them. The Zevorians remained cautious, but Seralith's support was unwavering. "Humans may be young among the stars," she said, "but they are strong in mind and spirit. That is why I have chosen this human, Ethan Corwin, as my companion and ally." Ethan and Seralith shared a brief glance, a silent acknowledgement of trust and teamwork. The palace's inner circle began to shift in perception, realizing that prejudice could not withstand action and courage. Yet the victory was temporary. Later that evening, a Zevorian strike team attempted a covert operation to sabotage the palace's energy systems, hoping to discredit both Seralith and Ethan. Alarms blared throughout the crystal corridors as palace guards mobilized. "Ethan," Seralith said urgently, "they seek to harm the palace and our people. I need your help." Ethan didn't hesitate. Using his knowledge of human engineering and strategy, he quickly identified the sabotaged nodes and rerouted energy flows to contain the damage. He worked alongside Lyrathian engineers, demonstrating problem-solving skills they had not anticipated from a human. The Zevorians' attack failed spectacularly, not through brute force, but through intelligence, collaboration, and courage, the hallmarks of humanity. Seralith's eyes shone with pride. "You have saved lives today, Ethan. You have shown the true strength of humans." Ethan smiled, feeling a sense of accomplishment he had never known. Humans had often been underestimated, but here, far from Earth, they were proving themselves. And more than that, They were doing so alongside an alien civilization that could now respect their abilities. In the aftermath, the palace held a small council meeting. Many Lyrathians who had doubted Ethan's presence now looked at him with admiration. Discussions of prejudice and skepticism gave way to curiosity and cautious optimism. Humans were no longer just outsiders. They were partners, capable of contributing to the Empire's strength. Sarilith addressed the council with her usual calm authority. Let this day be remembered not only for courage in love, but also for courage in action. Humans have shown that intelligence, adaptability, and bravery are not bound by species. Ethan Corwin has proven himself not only worthy of my trust, but of our collective respect. The council, though still divided, acknowledged her words. Slowly, acceptance began to grow. Humans, once seen as fragile and limited, had earned a place in the palace and in Sarilith's heart. Later, in the quiet of the floating gardens, Ethan and Sarilith walked together, the stars beginning to shimmer overhead. "You were incredible today," Sarilith said softly. "Not just in solving the problem, but in the way you faced fear, doubt, and opposition." Ethan shook his head. "I couldn't have done it without you. You believed in me when the court doubted. You trusted me." She smiled, placing a hand on his arm. "That is what partnership means. Courage is contagious. Humans have it in abundance, and I am proud to stand with you." For the first time, Ethan felt the true weight of their union, not just love, but shared responsibility, shared courage, and shared purpose. Humans had a place in the stars, and together with Sarilith, they could shape the future. A soft wind drifted across the floating gardens, carrying the scent of alien flowers and the promise of possibilities. The stars above twinkled, reflecting in Ethan's eyes and Sarilith's violet gaze. Together, they had faced doubt, opposition, and danger, and prevailed. But Ethan knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was wide, filled with unknown threats and challenges, and many would continue to doubt humanity's worth. Yet for the first time, he felt confident. Humans were not fragile. They were adaptable, intelligent, and brave. And when combined with Sarilith's wisdom and the support of Lyrathians, there was almost nothing they could not accomplish. As they returned to the palace, Ethan whispered softly, almost to himself, "If humans can do this, if we can prove our worth, then we can face anything." Sarilith looked at him and smiled. "Yes, Ethan, and together we will." The floating lamps glowed softly along their path, casting long shadows that intertwined like ribbons. For Ethan, the palace no longer felt intimidating. It felt like a place where humans could belong, where courage could thrive, and where love and purpose could change the course of the galaxy. The night on Lyrathis was filled with hope, determination, and a quiet promise. Humans had begun to show their true strength, and the galaxy had begun to take notice. And somewhere deep in the stars, distant civilizations who had once dismissed humanity would begin to rethink their assumptions. Ethan Corwin had faced his first true trial among the stars, and he had passed. But the journey was far from over. Challenges would continue, dangers would rise, and the courage of humans and Lyrathians alike would be tested again and again. Yet for now, under the lavender sky, surrounded by floating gardens and the soft hum of crystal towers, Ethan and Sarilith walked side by side, confident that together, they could face anything the galaxy dared to throw at them. The halls of the Lyrathian palace were filled with urgency. Word of Princess Sarilith's human companion, Ethan Corwin, had spread beyond the borders of their world. Nearby star systems whispered rumors, some admiring the bold union, others scoffing at the idea of a human holding influence in a royal court. A galactic summit had been called, gathering leaders from dozens of systems. The purpose was clear: to evaluate Lyrathis' decision to recognize a human as a partner to its princess. Diplomats, envoys, and warriors alike gathered, their faces a mixture of curiosity, skepticism, and barely concealed hostility. Ethan felt the weight of every eye upon him. This was not merely about him and Sarilith. It was about the place of humanity in a galaxy that had often dismissed them as fragile, naive, or incapable. For the first time, he truly understood the challenge ahead. Humans would have to prove themselves worthy not only through words or courage, but through skill, diplomacy, and action. Sarilith approached him as they prepared for the summit. Her violet eyes were steady, reflecting the calm confidence that had carried them through previous trials. "Ethan," she said softly, "today will test not just our bond, but your abilities. You must demonstrate what humans are capable of." Will you be ready? Ethan took a deep breath. I will do whatever it takes, Sarilith, for you, for humanity, for all of us. The summit chamber was enormous, a circular room suspended above the palace grounds. Light from the twin moons streamed through transparent walls, illuminating every face and every expression. Leaders of alien civilizations, from the smallest mining colonies to the most powerful star empires, were present. Murmurs swept through the crowd as they noticed Ethan, the lone human, standing beside the princess. The summit began with the usual formalities: speeches praising diplomacy, discussions of trade agreements, and debates over defense strategies. But it soon became clear that Ethan's presence would not go unnoticed. Delegates began to challenge him directly, testing his knowledge of interstellar law, strategy, and technology. One of the elder delegates from the Vorthan system, a species known for precision and ruthlessness, leaned forward. "Human," he said, his tone sharp, "how can we trust a species that has never ventured beyond a single planet in your entirety? How can we accept your judgment in matters that affect millions of lives?" Ethan squared his shoulders. "You are correct. Humans have only begun exploring the stars, but we adapt, we learn, and when faced with challenges, we think, innovate, and persevere. Our experience on Earth has shown that humans survive and thrive even in the harshest conditions. That same resourcefulness will guide us in interstellar matters." The Vorthan's gaze flickered with surprise. Few expected a human to speak with such clarity and confidence. Others in the room leaned forward, curiosity replacing skepticism. Another delegate, this one from the Orvani Confederacy, raised a question about the protection of trade routes against pirates and rogue factions. The humans had limited ships, limited numbers. How could they possibly defend crucial supply lines? Ethan thought quickly. "It is not the size of the fleet alone that matters," he explained. "It is strategy, communication, and cooperation. Humans excel in teamwork and problem-solving. By coordinating closely with Lyrathian patrols and using intelligent, adaptable tactics, we can protect the routes effectively without relying solely on raw power." Murmurs of approval spread. Sarilith's hand brushed his arm subtly, a silent gesture of support and trust. The summit continued into the night. Questions became more complex, involving energy distribution, planetary governance, and defense strategies across multiple systems. Time and again, Ethan combined human creativity with Lyrathian logic, proposing solutions that impressed even the harshest critics. By the end of the first day, some leaders were still skeptical, but a shift in perception had begun. Humans were no longer seen as naive outsiders. They were problem solvers, capable of contributing to the galaxy's stability. As the delegates retired for the night, Sarilith led Ethan to a quiet observation deck. Below them, the palace gardens floated like constellations among the crystal towers. "You were extraordinary today," Sarilith said softly. "You have proven that humans are capable of more than many aliens believe." Ethan exhaled, a mixture of relief and fatigue washing over him. "It is encouraging to be seen as capable," he admitted. "But I know tomorrow will bring more challenges. Not everyone will accept us so easily." Sarilith nodded. "True, but today we've taken a step forward. Humans can earn respect not by claiming it, but by showing it through action." Ethan gazed out at the stars. He thought of Earth, a small blue planet far away, and of the humans who had fought, survived, and thrived against every challenge. "Humans have always had to prove themselves," he said quietly. "Perhaps that is why we succeed. We never give up even when others doubt us." Sarilith smiled, her eyes reflecting the twin moons above. "And that is why I trust you. Courage, ingenuity, perseverance, these are qualities that transcend worlds." The next day, the summit faced its greatest test. A sudden warning came from the Lyrathian defense grid. A fleet of unknown origin was approaching the conference chamber at high speed. It was a challenge designed to test both diplomacy and defense, a live simulation of a potential attack scenario. Delegates looked to Ethan, expecting hesitation or fear. He did not falter. Instead, he quickly analyzed the approach vectors and proposed coordinated defensive maneuvers, using a combination of Lyrathian energy shields and predictive navigation algorithms inspired by human tactics. The plan worked flawlessly. The attack was neutralized, demonstrating the effectiveness of human-alien collaboration. Leaders who had doubted Ethan's abilities were forced to acknowledge that humans, while inexperienced in the galaxy, possessed qualities that made them strong allies. Sarilith watched with pride. "Humans are often underestimated," she said softly. "Yet time and again they surprise the universe with courage and intellect." By the end of the summit, resolutions were passed recognizing human contributions to interstellar cooperation, and some alien factions even began proposing formal partnerships with Earth. Ethan and Sarilith had not only defended the integrity of their union, but had elevated humanity's standing across the stars. As the delegates departed, Ethan felt a deep sense of accomplishment, yet also an understanding of the path ahead. This was only the beginning. The galaxy was wide, complex, and unpredictable. Humans would face skepticism, challenges, and danger at every turn. But for the first time, humans were seen as capable equals. Later that evening, back in the floating gardens, Ethan and Sarilith walked side by side. The soft glow of the palace lamps reflected in their eyes, creating a serene atmosphere after a day of tension and triumph. "You have changed perceptions today," Sarilith said quietly. "You have shown the galaxy that humans are not only capable but valuable." Ethan smiled, humbled but determined. "I only hope this is the start. There will be more challenges, and humans must be ready to face them." Sarilith placed her hand over his. "With courage and wisdom, humans can accomplish anything. And you, my human, have shown that courage and intelligence are not bound by size or origin. Together, we will face whatever the galaxy places in our path." Ethan felt a warmth in his chest, a sense of purpose unlike anything he had ever known. Humanity had survived, learned, and thrived against impossible odds. Now, in a distant palace among the stars, they were beginning to show the galaxy their true potential. As they stood beneath the twin moons, Ethan whispered softly, "If humans can rise to this, if we can prove ourselves, perhaps the universe will never underestimate us again." Sarilith smiled, her hand brushing gently against his. "And with humans by my side, I have no doubt we will shape the future together." The night on Lyrathis was quiet, but for Ethan, it was alive with possibility. The galaxy had witnessed human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. They had survived tests designed to humble them, and they had emerged stronger, respected, and more confident than ever before. And somewhere among the stars, civilizations that had once doubted humanity would begin to rethink what it meant to underestimate a species capable of courage, creativity, and unyielding determination. Ethan Corwin, standing beside Princess Sarilith, understood that their union was not just about love. It was about changing the galaxy's perception of humanity. And together they would face whatever challenges awaited, showing the universe that humans, small and fragile though they seemed, could rise among the stars with unmatched courage and ingenuity. The palace lights glimmered across the floating gardens, and the stars reflected Ethan's determination. The future was uncertain, but he felt ready. Humans had begun to leave their mark on the galaxy, and the journey was only beginning. And in that quiet night, with violet eyes beside him and stars overhead, Ethan whispered almost to himself, "We are ready. Humanity is ready, and together we will rise." The crystal towers of Lyrathis gleamed under the light of twin suns. Today was not just any day. It was the day the galaxy would witness a union that no one could have imagined. Princess Sarilith and Ethan Corwin were to be married, a union that symbolized not only love, but also the potential of humanity among the stars. The palace buzzed with activity. Lyrathian citizens, diplomats from neighboring systems, and curious observers gathered in the grand courtyard. Flags of countless star systems fluttered in the gentle wind. For the first time, humans were recognized not as outsiders, but as equals, invited to witness a moment that could change interstellar history. Ethan adjusted his ceremonial attire, a mix of human and Lyrathian design, feeling both excitement and nervousness. He had faced many challenges before, skeptical nobles, rival factions, and interstellar councils, but nothing compared to the emotions surging inside him now. Today was personal, yet profoundly historic. Sarilith appeared on the balcony above, radiant as ever. Her violet eyes scanned the crowd before meeting Ethan's gaze. A smile spread across her face, a mixture of warmth, confidence, and quiet determination. She descended the steps of the balcony with grace, and Ethan's heart quickened. "Today," she said, her voice carrying across the courtyard, "we unite not only as two beings, but as two worlds. This union represents courage, trust, and the willingness to see potential where others may doubt. Humans are capable of more than many in the galaxy realize, and today we honor that truth. The crowd murmured in awe. Some were still skeptical, but many looked on with admiration. Humans had proven themselves again and again through challenges and trials, earning a place in a galaxy that had often underestimated them. As Ethan stepped forward to meet Sarilith, the skies suddenly darkened, not with storm clouds but with the approach of an unexpected fleet. Sensors had detected ships moving fast, attempting to breach Lyrath's space without warning. It was an attack, likely from factions opposed to the human Princess Union. "Ethan," Sarilith said urgently, placing a hand on his arm, "we will not let them disrupt today." "Are you ready?" Ethan felt the familiar rush of adrenaline. Humans thrived in moments of uncertainty, finding solutions when others faltered. "Yes," he said firmly, "we will face this together." The fleet entered orbit, their ships sleek and armed with advanced energy weapons. Palace defense systems activated, but the attackers had studied the palace layout. It would be a difficult battle, but Ethan did not hesitate. "Coordinate with me," he instructed the Lyrathian engineers, pointing at key nodes in the energy grid. "Redirect power to the shields here, reroute auxiliary energy to the outer perimeter, and use the decoy drones to mislead their targeting systems." The Lyrathians moved quickly, following his guidance. His human ingenuity combined with Lyrathian technology created a defense stronger than anyone had anticipated. The attackers fired. Energy beams cut through the sky, lighting the lavender clouds in streaks of blue and gold. Palace shields absorbed and redirected the blasts. Decoy drones swarmed around enemy ships, confusing their sensors. Ethan worked tirelessly, adjusting shields and energy flows, calculating angles and trajectories that even some Lyrathian engineers had overlooked. He anticipated the attackers' movements, predicting their next strikes and countering with precision. Sarilith, meanwhile, directed her own forces with unmatched clarity. Her calm authority inspired loyalty, courage, and focus. Together, she and Ethan became a perfect team. Human creativity and Lyrathian experience, mind and strategy, united against overwhelming odds. The battle raged for hours, but the attackers underestimated the power of combined courage and intelligence. Slowly, their fleet began to falter. Strategic maneuvers designed by Ethan disrupted formations, while Sarilith's leadership prevented panic among defenders. Finally, the attackers retreated, their fleet scattering into the void. The palace and its people were safe, thanks to the brilliance and bravery of a human standing beside the Lyrathian princess. The crowd erupted in cheers. Not only had they witnessed a display of love and unity, but also a demonstration of human potential on a galactic scale. Humans had survived yet another test and had proven that courage, creativity, and quick thinking could stand alongside advanced alien technology. Sarilith approached Ethan, her eyes shining with pride. "You have shown the galaxy what humans are capable of," she said. "Your courage, intelligence, and determination have saved lives and changed perceptions. I am proud to stand with you." Ethan, exhausted but exhilarated, smiled. "I only did what humans do. We survive, we adapt, we fight for what is right. And I would do it again for you and for all of us." The ceremony began, a blend of Lyrathian and human traditions. Symbols of unity were displayed, representing both worlds coming together. The twin moons of Lyrathis cast their gentle glow across the courtyard, reflecting off the crystal towers in a dazzling spectacle. Ethan and Sarilith exchanged vows. Words of love, respect, and promise echoed across the gathered crowd. "I pledge my heart, my courage, and my loyalty," Ethan said, "to you, Sarilith, and to the hope that humanity and Lyrathis will face the stars together." Sarilith responded, her voice steady and full of emotion. "I pledge my trust, my strength, and my partnership to you, Ethan Corwin. Together we will guide our worlds, honor our people, and prove that courage and love can unite the galaxy." The crowd cheered, some with tears in their eyes. Delegates from alien civilizations nodded in respect. Humans, once dismissed, had earned recognition not through conquest but through intelligence, courage, and loyalty. After the vows, Ethan and Sarilith stood together, looking out over the city of floating towers and gardens. The stars shimmered above, reflecting in the crystal structures below. They both understood that their union was more than love. It was a symbol, a declaration that humans had a place in the galaxy, capable of achieving greatness alongside other civilizations. Later, as celebrations continued, delegates approached Ethan to acknowledge his contributions. One Vorthan elder spoke quietly but with genuine respect. "I admit, I underestimated your kind. Today you have shown wisdom, courage, and foresight. Humans have earned a place in interstellar affairs." Ethan smiled, humbled. "We are still learning," he replied, "but we will continue to prove ourselves worthy. Courage, intelligence, and determination guide us. And when combined with allies like Sarilith, we can achieve much more." Sarilith watched, pride evident in her expression. Humans were no longer outsiders, they were partners, capable of shaping the future. And through this union, the galaxy had witnessed a demonstration of what could be achieved when hearts and minds worked together. As night fell over Lyrathis, the palace gardens glowed softly, lanterns floating gently in the air. Ethan and Sarilith walked side by side, feeling the quiet satisfaction of a battle fought and won, challenges faced, and perceptions changed. "Do you think humans are truly accepted now?" Ethan asked, looking out over the courtyard where citizens and delegates mingled. "They are beginning to be," Sarilith replied. "But acceptance grows through deeds, not words, and humans have proven themselves in ways the galaxy will not forget. You, Ethan Corwin, have shown that humans are capable of courage, intelligence, and greatness. That truth will spread across worlds." Ethan took her hand, feeling the warmth and strength in her grip. "Then we have work to do," he said with a smile, "for humanity, for Lyrathis, and for the galaxy." Sarilith nodded, her eyes reflecting the stars above. "Together we will guide the future, and together we will face whatever challenges come. Love and courage will light the way." The stars above sparkled as if in agreement. Across the galaxy, civilizations that had once doubted humanity would begin to reconsider. Humans, small and fragile though they might seem, were capable of incredible ingenuity, courage, and endurance. And in the heart of the Lyrathian palace, a union of human and alien had proven that cooperation, respect, and love could change the course of history. Ethan and Sarilith stood at the balcony, overlooking the floating gardens, the glowing towers, and the stars beyond. They were more than a couple. They were a symbol of unity, a bridge between worlds, and a testament to what humans could achieve. And Ethan whispered softly, as if to the universe itself, "We are ready, humanity is ready, and together we will rise among the stars." Sarilith squeezed his hand, her violet eyes shining with trust and pride. "Yes, Ethan, together we will rise. And the galaxy will know that humans are not just survivors. They are creators, thinkers, and dreamers. They are capable of greatness." The celebration continued beneath the twin moons, with music and light filling the palace. Delegates and citizens mingled, exchanging stories, laughter, and hope. Humans had earned their place not through conquest, but through courage, intelligence, and heart. And somewhere in the galaxy, far from Lyrathis, civilizations began to whisper the same truth. Humans, underestimated for too long, were capable of achieving wonders, forging alliances, and changing history. Tonight, humanity had risen, and tomorrow the stars awaited.